So good afternoon. I received a comment question on one of my videos, and the question was somebody looking for recommendations for books to read. And YouTube, being that it changes so frequently, I can't keep up. So I figured I would just make, hey, what are you doing? No. I would just make a video with my books. Hang on. So my first book recommendation is Paganism, An Introduction to Earth-Centered Religion. It's by Joyce and River Higginbotham. This is a really good basic introduction to all the big ones. So let me just pull up this little image. Da-da-da. It basically shows the pagan umbrella with all the different religions represented as little raindrops. And the ones they have are Celtic, Santeria, Druidism, Asatru, Voodoo, Shamanism, Eclectic, Wicca, family traditions, blended, ceremonial. So you've got a really good outline for all the major branches. And this has different beliefs, deities. What about Satan? That's a chapter. Ooh. So this is a really good introductory. I still go to it. I mean, if you need just a basic introductory, or you have basic questions, outline, this is what I would go for. And there's a part 2 to it, and it's a green cover as well, but I don't remember the title. That is a good one. The next few are Druidism and Celtic Shamanism, so I've read them all. This one I read, it's got a lot of good exercises and meditations in it. It's called The Druidry Handbook, and it's by John Michael Greer. This one was really good. It's got lore, and it's divided up into triads. And then the second one, Fire in the Head, and this is Celtic Shamanism, and as you can see, I went through it. This is really good. It's a little bit more, it's not a beginner book. It's a little bit more advanced, maybe intermediate. This one has chapters on nature, forest folk, death, the center of a long life. It's shamanism. Really, really interesting. And this is by Tom Cowan. And the one that I'm currently reading, I received it within the last year. It's really good. It's The Mysteries of Druidry. It's a really pretty cover. And this is by Brendan Cathbad Myers, PhD. This one I like because it's got folklore stories. It's got lots of really great imagery. Charts. Puppy, it's okay. Stop. Stone circles. Mysteries of Druidry. Space, time, and magic. Space, time, and magic. Barking dog. She's barking at the rats. She hasn't figured out yet that they're not going to hurt her. Ow. No nipping. Come here, you. Oh, this is Canewin. Okay, so that's Mysteries of Druidry. And as far as witchcraft goes, I personally do not recommend Silver Ravenwolf unless you're really young, teenager even, and even then, take it all with a grain of salt. She's good. I still have Teen Witch, which I use as a go-to. I have in my Book of Shadows like a color chart, what all the colors mean, days of the week, things like that. That's what I use that book for. It's basically a book of charts and basic definitions. I still keep it. I don't really use it for much else. Authors I would recommend for witchcraft, not Wicca. I can't really speak for Wicca. Christopher Pangsack, yes, I would say he's a really good go-to author for Wicca, but also witchcraft. I have a book called Sons of the Goddess, which is basically Wicca for men or for boys, because there really aren't a lot of books for boys or men specifically. And that's called Sons of the Goddess. It's really good, and I've read it. Who cares if it's for men? The other books by him that I recommend are the Temple of Witchcraft series. I have the Inner Temple of Witchcraft. I think there's the Outer Temple of Witchcraft. Various Temple of Witchcraft books. No, absolutely not. And then he's got a book called The Three Rays of Witchcraft. It's a green cover. That I think is fairly new. And then the other author I would highly recommend, I've met him. Him and Christopher Pangsack have done workshops at my local shop in my hometown, and I've met Raven Gramassi. His name is Raven Gramassi. He's really cool. He's not Wiccan. He's an old world traditional witch. So for Wicca, I'd go to Pengsak. For old traditional witchcraft, I'd go to Gramassi. And we have his book called Old World Witchcraft, and that's, I think, fairly new. That's within a couple of years. And then the other one is The Cauldron of Memory, I think, which is also fairly new. Also really interesting. It gives you a basic background of what the ancestors would have done, traditional as opposed to Wiccan witchcraft. And as far as Asatru or heathenism, the only book, I own some on like folklore and mythology, but the only book I own, or that me and my husband own, on heathenism at all is the Book of Troth. It's a dark, I think it's like black and blue cover with like a huge honkin' Thor's hammer on the front, and I think the author's name is Thorson. I don't remember his first name, but his last name is Thorson. And as far as books, those are the ones I highly recommend. If you want just, excuse me, buttons are not chew toys. Okay, thanks. Oh, she chewed it off. That's awesome. Go to Llewellyn. I really like Llewellyn Publications. They have, I think, the best authors and the best books. So if you have any other questions, send them over. But those are my book recommendations.